Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. I thought I would do another episode or installment of Edit with me today. So I have got a few more questions or requested topics to talk about. So I will use this opportunity to talk about them. So as I did in my last Edit With Me video, I'm just going to be editing while I talk about a few photography topics and basically answering a couple of questions that you guys have left me over the week. So I'm just going to start in camera raw again like I did last time and make some adjustments. One of the topics that I'm going to be talking about today is, oh hang on a second, my microphone is slipping. I've literally got sticky tape stuck all around it so it won't fall. Yeah, I'm pretty technical. Anyway, yeah, so one of the topics that I'm going to talk about today is going to be photographing in natural light, because someone did request that in one of my last videos. And I'm not really sure like what this particular person wanted me to talk about to do with natural light, so I'm just going to take the opportunity to say my thoughts on natural light photography as opposed to studio photography, since that could be a good topic, I think. Yeah, so to start off with, I am primarily, I would say, a natural light photographer, because my studio experience is like, I would say, fairly limited. I have had experience with studio photography before, but it's really just been when I've been like in class, when I was studying, I kind of did a bit there, and I've just really done basic like e-commerce stuff. So that's kind of like pretty much a blank wall and just photographing clothing on a model for like online stores and that sort of thing. And that's kind of all I've done. I've done the odd shoot here and there that has been like a creative shoot. But yeah, apart from that, not much. So for those of you that have been watching my videos over the last few months, I guess, I have done an unboxing on my studio kit that I did purchase. So I do have studio lighting now, and it wasn't really cheap, but I did invest in some decent studio lights because I did want to practice with my studio techniques. And I've actually just realized this photo is actually blurry. Wow, this is, yep. Great job me. I'm going to bring up another photo. That is super embarrassing. I did have it, I do actually have the files like reduced like in size, like on my screen, because I have to when I'm filming. So yeah, let's just ignore that and pretend that never happened. I'm going to get another photo up. Okay, now we have that embarrassing moment out the way. I have a photo that is sharp and not blurry. It's funny, when I was looking at the last photo, I was like, oh, I really like this shot. I wonder why I didn't use that in my final images. And that would be because it was blurry and I forgot. So anyway, we have a new photo now. So yeah, what was I saying? Studio equipment is something that I've only just recently purchased. So I've only really just started to experiment, and I'm hoping to do more videos using studio lighting and backdrops and things like that. It's probably going to take a little bit longer just because I want to make sure I've got the gist of it basically with my lights and everything, and that I can use them properly, because it's going to be a little bit embarrassing to do a tutorial on using my lights or doing some studio photography if I don't know how to use the lights yet. So hopefully it'll be coming soon though. So yeah, I am basically a natural light photographer. That's just what I have been accustomed to. It's what I started off using, because obviously natural light is free and it's, you know, everywhere. And you can use it quite easily. Whereas studio lights, obviously you need to pay, they're not as affordable, and it actually does take quite a bit of skill to use studio lights and to get used to using them. So that's probably a reason why I haven't used them yet. And honestly, I'm not going to lie, there's probably a little bit of laziness in there too, because it's taken me a long time to do. I mean, I've been doing photography for nearly 10 years, and I really kind of think to myself sometimes, like, I should have picked up, you know, learning studio lighting, I should say, a while ago, I think. Sometimes I think that natural light, because it's the easy option, people sometimes don't bother to learn studio, and which is fine, you know, like some people are just, you know, they prefer natural light. I always prefer natural light, even over studio. But that's just my personal opinion. I still think, you know, obviously studio is just such a big market, and to know it, you would probably in turn get a lot more work as far as editorials and beauty work and that sort of thing, which is what I want to get into. So I do want to do a lot more of it. I just think that, you know, I love natural light, and I mean, for me, there's no better time than like at golden hour to do a shoot. I just think it's perfect at that time of day. But the great thing about studio is too that you can control the light. And I mean, whereas natural light photography, if you organize a shoot on a bad day, then you're probably going to have a bad day. Like the weather-wise, I mean, it kind of sucks, you know, if your shoot doesn't go to plan. And yeah, if you don't have a backup location on the day with natural light, it's probably, you know, you're going to have to either deal with the rain or you're going to have to postpone the shoot. Whereas with studio, I mean, you can shoot at 10 o'clock at night, which is great. So I would love to learn a little bit more in that sense. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say on the subject. I mean, lighting, so studio or natural, is totally each, you know, it's each to their own. Like everyone has a preference usually, and it's just something that I want to get into more. Natural light will always be my favorite though, so you know. I love natural light. I think it's perfect for what I do, but studio lighting is obviously perfect for what I do as well, so I think it's time to learn. But yeah, I hope that answered the person that requested that topic. I hope that, you know, covered it okay. I'm not really sure what else to say about the subject. Whoops. Lost my history tab again. Something else, I guess that's going to bring me for the fact that so many people do use natural light. I got a question in an email from one of you guys last week, or it might have been the week before, and it was on how I feel about hipster photographers. And I don't know specifically who this is referring to, and I don't know how to express my thoughts on this, but I'm going to assume hipster photographers are like the whole like Instagram, like hair in front of young girls' faces, blowing in the wind kind of thing, golden light. I'm going to assume that's what it means, because that's a huge trend that's been like going around for the past couple of years. How do I feel about that? I don't know. I think, you know, everyone has a right to do what they want with their photography, so who am I to say, you know, that they shouldn't do it? I know every second person these days seems to have like a photography page, but you know, it's not really up to me whether people do photography or not. So I guess that's my thoughts on it, and what type of photography they do. It's totally up to them. I wish, in a way, people, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have fallen into the same trap of doing that sort of photography, and it's what people love to see. I think it's such a big trend, and I think I get caught up sometimes with it because it's what people like to see, and then I bring it into my work, and it's something that I have touched on before with my work, but I try not to, because with whatever I'm doing, I try and make each of my photos look completely different to the last. Or not completely different, but different, you know, noticeably different. I try and think of new ideas all the time. You know, it's hard. It is really hard to think of new ideas constantly, but I do try to. I think I wish people these days would just try to be a little bit more original with their works. I mean, it's near impossible for people to be original these days with photography. It feels like everything's already been done. So it's very hard to come up with completely brand new ideas, of course. But sometimes I feel like I just see the same types of images over and over again, and I don't know, I'd kind of like to think that there was a little bit more variety out there, and that photographers out there were really thinking of new concepts, and not just kind of seeing what everyone else is doing and then doing the same thing, if that makes sense. I don't know. I gain a little bit more inspiration from the photos that I don't see every day, the ones with interesting concepts, or the ones that are different. I see so much of the same imagery on Tumblr and on Instagram and Facebook, and after a while I just kind of get, not like sick of it, but I just sort of get a bit bored with seeing it, and I'm not particularly inspired by that type of photography. I used to be, when it was kind of a new trend and there weren't as many people doing it, and you'd kind of be like, oh, that's a really nice shot or whatever. But now I kind of just look at that, and sometimes I just sort of think to myself, oh, it's nice, but I kind of wish there was more of a concept to it, instead of just a pretty girl in front of a camera. And sometimes, like I said, I've fallen trapped to that, and some of my photos are too simple. Like, I've just picked up the camera and really just photographed the girl just like that kind of thing, and pretty girl in front of a camera. Of course, that's going to get Instagram likes or whatever, but it's one thing I do strive for with my photography. I would love to be a little bit more original with my stuff, instead of just kind of following trends all the time, and I hope other people do the same. One day this trend might kind of like fade out or phase out, whatever I'm trying to say, I'm not really sure, but I just kind of hope that people try and be a bit more original, but you can't really force people to do things they don't want to do, I guess. And so that's my thoughts on hipster photographers. I'm assuming that's what hipster photographers are, though I'm not entirely certain, but that's my thoughts. What else was there? Oh yeah, that's right. I keep getting asked recently in emails and things like that, and this is a really hard question to answer, and it's, how much should you charge for photography or photography packages? And this is so varied, so I'm not even going to be able to answer this question completely right now. So I am definitely going to do a video on this hopefully soon, because I feel like it's a video that a lot of people do want to see. What can I say about it now? I think with charging, it all comes down to experience, and oh god, it's so hard to say what you should even charge for certain things. Like, what I might do is do a video that focuses on different genres. So I'll focus on the genres that I work with most, which would be obviously fashion and maybe weddings. I'm not really sure what else I can do. Maybe family portraits and that sort of thing as well. I might do that as well as wedding photography or something like that, if that might help you guys out a bit. Otherwise it's really hard to say, and I can't really be, I would have to be really specific with each genre, because everyone's different. Everyone's up to a different experience level, and to try and explain, I can only really tell you guys how I went about it. So it was very much all dependent on my experience, and it still is. I feel each year I kind of inch my prices up a little bit more when I feel I've got more experience. But yeah, apart from that, I just can't really say much more on the subject right now, but I promise I'll do like a video on it, and I'll tell you guys when I do. I'll show you guys. Okay, so I'm just going to use my new Action Rose Water for this image, and I'm just going to tweak the colours a little bit because the skin's a little bit too pink, so I'm just going to bring that pink colouring down a bit, and then go to my selective colour and adjust the magentas a little bit, bring a little bit more warmth back into the skin. Take a snapshot, and I'll show you guys what the befores look like and what it's looked like now. So we've just added a little bit more brightness and a bit more colouring to it. This was a really hard photo to edit actually because of the lighting on the day. It was very harsh, so the photos from this shoot were a little bit harder to edit. As you can tell by the original photo, I do underexpose my images a fair bit, especially in those situations, because I find if it's too bright, then I won't, if I like expose properly for the model, then the background will be way too light, so I won't get any detail back there. So yeah, that's why that looks like that. But now we've kind of like made it a little bit more neutral and not so contrasty, and I think I'm happy with that just for a basic edit. So I'm just going to flatten that and give it a bit of a sharpen, and I'll show you guys another before and after. So before, after, zoom in, before and after. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry I didn't really answer too many questions this time around because they were quite difficult questions actually. So hopefully with a few of them I might be able to do like a response video to them, like the pricing one especially, because pricing is just so varied, and I want to be able to give you guys advice on that that's a little bit more accurate and specific to the genre of photography that you guys do, or the genres that I know most. I don't want to just do it generally or on a genre that I'm not really familiar with, because some genres of photography have completely different pricing systems. So I'm just going to do it on the ones that I know and hopefully give you guys some helpful advice. Well, I hope it's helpful. But anyway guys, thank you so much for watching again, and please list any topics in the comment section below if you would like me to talk about a specific photography topic in my next Edit With Me video. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!